Hey everyone, The here, doing a sort of update kind of video because it's been a really long time and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Um, since last time, with I think it was the PowerMac G4 in-depth video, kind of decided that I don't really like the super formal format. Um, like the way I did it, at least the way I read it from the script, which there obviously was one, it didn't seem like it was from the heart. Even though it was at the time when I wrote it, it didn't really come across that way, and I'm not sure I really like kind of just sitting down in front of a thing and talking about it, and then editing like cut clips in the, editor when I'm done. But I'm thinking what I'm going to do instead of doing a super formal thing is do a thing somewhere in between formal and in between just looking around the thing, because I think that'll strike a good balance between just looking around and being super formal about it. But so yeah, there's that. Secondarily, I have this system up and running here. This is an Intel desktop board, D41 DG41 something GT, I don't know, I think. It's got a Pentium dual core in it, like 2.86 gigahertz, and its current function is to be my disk backup workstation type thing, because it has both ID and SATA. And it currently runs a 200 gig hard drive as its main drive, and is currently backing up, or has finished backing up, a 200 gig Seagate SD7200.9. So yeah, there's that. I used to have this board right here in it, which is a Pentium 3 Coppermine board, but I don't know why, but for whatever reason, when I went to get that board to work, no video over HDP, and I don't think there's any video over the PCI slots either. I tried a couple video cards, and there are these Matrox variety on the floor here. If I can get a good lighting direction. These here. But I don't know, some of them don't appear to work, so I'll have to investigate that later. Third on the list, I decided when I was on vacation, that I was going to do a new thing where every month, I was going to buy some sort of vintage hard drive for under $50 and then show it off. And this was supposed to be the first of that. This is a Micropolis 4221. And unfortunately, when it came DOA. I blame it on bad packing. I don't think the seller had bad intentions with his packing, but the way he packed it, it was packed, and it certainly would have been better than no packaging, but it didn't really cushion any blows that the thing most surely took when it was in transport. First time I powered this bad boy up, it gave that characteristic head knocking off of metal sort of sound, and when it got up to full speed, there was a loud clang, and it shut off. So I assume that was the head being torn off, and it just clicks now when I go to use it. It's really a shame, actually, because I was looking forward to using this drive. It's a very, very nice drive. If it was working, it'd be even better. It's got, I think, 68 pin SCSI, maybe 50 pin, I'm not sure, I haven't counted, but it feels pretty qualitative, and this would have been built at a time when Micropolis was kind of declining. So yeah, and even in addition to the drive, the anti-static bag says Micropolis on it. I love that. I just love that. I'm going to contact the seller and get a refund on that so I can use it to buy something different. Because it was really kind of depressing when I found out that the thing broke after being scared half to death as the head got torn off. But anyway, yeah, that's the Micropolis 4221. So now we're over here at the server, and you may be wondering why I had to do that cut just then. It's because I forgot what the topic was I was supposed to be talking about next, but now I know, it's the server. So anyway, this is the Marcellus file server that I did a video on a while ago, if you've seen that. I'll put a link in the description and probably an annotation right in the middle of the screen that you should watch before going further. So you can see it's got a couple of little netbooks on it and stuff. I'm planning to do upgrades to the server, and I mean, they're really not needed, let's be honest, but I'd really like to do them anyway. Currently, this system has a total of 4 drives. All of them are 1 terabyte Hitachi Desk Stars of first generation 1 terabyte Hitachi Desk Stars, which means they have 5 platters and consume a lot of power and take a long time to spin up, and unfortunately are only set at 2. So me and a friend online, whom I thank very much for his time, have been looking into buying some sort of LSI RAID card, considering as none of the motherboards that I actually own have any capability in the way of RAID that are actually functional. That meaning that it's not like a Pentium 4 or Core 2 Duo piece of crap that I don't really need. So if I do wind up getting an LSI RAID card, which will be pretty pricey for, 6 gigabit a second SAS or higher, what I'm going to be doing is getting rid of all 4 of these Hitachi drives that are in there currently, and I'll be replacing them with WD-REDs in the configuration of 4 1 terabyte WD-RED drives will be used in a RAID 5, and that will be the main storage configuration. And we will have a 4 terabyte WD-RED as the backup volume, and that will be sitting in there, but it'll be off of the RAID controller, so if the RAID controller decides to have a meltdown like Linus Tech Tips did, I don't lose all my data. And the boot volume will either be a 1 terabyte or smaller WD-RED drive that will house the 2 other partitions that I currently have on this besides the general file storage. So that'll be that, and it'll be very expensive. Everything else will stay the same because nothing else needs to change. One more thing to note is that in idle, with all the drives off and lowest power state achieved without being in standby using this, I measured that this system from the wall in idle draws give or take 40 watts. And I don't mean give or take as in like plus or minus 10, I mean like plus or minus 2. It's really power efficient, and I was honestly surprised when it only got like 40 watts from the wall. And this is with the memory voltage stack. The CPU is undervolted, just enough to make it stable. And the drives, all 4 of the drives, are set to power off after 20 minutes of inactivity. So there you go. That's the secret. And plus, I think the power supply, the Seasonic power supply in there, is an 80 plus, at least 80 plus bronze power supply. So that really helps with the power efficiency as well. Okay, so as you can see on the screen here, this is my file server. I don't really care if you know the directory. It's not hooked up to the internet because I don't have any. This is the folder that houses my PC backups, which are me taking the hard drive out of most of my computers and backing them up. As you can see, I have a little over 10 or 15, I'm not sure, I'm not bothering to count. And I have all of these computers left to do, so this will take a while, but hopefully by the time I finish this, it'll be nice to have a backup copy of every one of my computers in case the basement floods or a fire erupts, and the only thing I'm able to save is my file server and my laptop. God, I gotta save my laptop. But anyway. As you can see right in front of you, this is a vintage hard drive. It is an ST4096, and it is 80 megabytes and works perfectly. I think this will be the feature presentation of the first episode of Vintage Drive-a-thon, or whatever I want to freaking call it. Maybe with a couple of other drives thrown in the mix, because I have a few, or maybe I'll just do none, so I have, give or take, 3 months worth of footage. But yeah, that'll be the plan for that, and look forward to more videos featuring some of my newer computers where I do some, I don't know, just general usage slash benchmark slash, I don't know, whatever the hell I want to do with these computers type of stuff. I know that's not very specific, but hopefully it'll be some content that's actually enjoyable to watch. So yeah, look forward to that, I guess. As you can see down here, this is the sad remnants or shell of a iBook G4 1.52 gigahertz. I tested this a couple months ago with this little dongle. This thing is so helpful. This is a, I think, DisplayPort to VGA adapter. I tested this a couple months ago, and this actually works, believe it or not. And online, I did the calculations. I can get all of the parts that I need, except for the screen, unfortunately. All of the parts that I need for this thing to get it working again for about $40. Believe that or not. So, look out sometime down the road for a video featuring the adventures of putting this beast back together. This motherboard is the motherboard that came out of the computer it's sitting on. I have exactly 4 replicas of the same thing of this. Actually, that's a lie. I have 3 of them, and then one is slightly different. But a while ago, me and one of my online friends, you know who you are, I promised to send him this board. Obviously, as you can see, it's still right in front of me, so I obviously have not fulfilled my obligation. Don't worry though, I have not forgotten about you. Sometime, when I get off my lazy ass, I will send this to you. If you can see on the bottom of my computer stack, I have a bunch of servers. One is kind of hidden in the corner there. My finger should be sitting on it. All of except one of these, actually 2 of these, use 80-pin SCSI drives, and one of them, that one right there, has all 6 bays filled with them. If I was, me, I'd like to actually be able to use the computers that I have with SCSI hardware. So, eventually, I'm going to do a video where I get most of these, if not all of these servers out, which is going to necessitate taking the entire stack down. Once I do that, I will make a video of me rearranging and reinstalling all of the operating systems and drives in these various systems. See this server underneath the computer I was showing you earlier? That's a server, yep. Me and that same online friend I keep talking about have this little competition sort of thing. It's not really a competition, it's just kind of decided to be that way, but anyway. We have this little thing going on where we like to see who has the biggest balls in terms of gigaflops of a CPU. So, he recently acquired a hexa-core Xeon that, when overclocked, can pull high 50, low 60 gigaflops per second. This is a dual socket 771 machine, and I'm thinking with the CPUs that I can put in it, which, I mean, economically, are a Xeon X5355, 2 of them, if I put 2 of them in there, I might be able to achieve higher or equal to 60 gigaflops per second. And you may be wondering, oh, well, don't you have something better already? Well, my main laptop can pull about 80, but since it has AVX, that's about half, and it's a laptop, so that'll be that. I'll have to see how much I can get out of that system, and if I can get more out of it than my current laptop can already do, it'll function as my video rendering server. It's not really even a server, it would just be a machine in that case. It's not serving anything. It'll just be hooked up to the network. 1 or 2 more things and I'll be done. This computer right in the center here, that computer is a piece of shit, compact desktop, but that's okay. Its RAM slots do not hold the RAM sticks in place, so sometime in the future I'll have to make a video of me putting hot glue into the RAM so it'll stay in place. And that'll be a whole process, because in order to ensure that the RAM is making a press delete or press F2 to enter setup type thing, I'm pretty sure you have to boot off of a floppy to get into access to the BIOS settings. So And until I can actually get into the BIOS settings and reset all the BIOS settings so that the hard drive actually boots, it's not going to do much. So that'll be another thing. This right in front of me is an wow, I was about to say RCA. Radio Shack TRS-80 Model 3. It's in pretty shit shape, and according to the vintage computing forums, it has capacitors in the power supply that, when exposed to time, which is always, the capacitors in the power supply are more and more liable to explode upon power up. So I'll have to fix that at some point. Look out for that, too. This thing up in the top left. What could that be? Huh, I wonder. This is the last thing on my list before I'm done. This is an iMac G5. All of the capacitors in this thing need to be replaced. So, look out for that. Doesn't power up, by the way. So that's about it. Hope you guys are excited for this new year, new content type of stuff. And as always, hope you have a nice day, and I'll see you guys later.